Hello, and welcome back to the Hard Knox Games Paintcast with
myself,
Adam, and my co-host,
Allison.
Oh,
I thought.
That's okay. So this is episode 2. It's our second episode of the Paintcast. We're going to paint some things for you, and mainly just kind of talk about things and stuff happening in our wonderful world.
Because boy, is there a lot happening.
There will be some painting happening. I'm still working on the same thing as I was last time, just a different batch of them. So I have my Song of Ice and Fire Baratheons. As you can see, we dry brushed them all last time. So they have the plate mail look going on. Today I'm going to be working on painting a bunch of shields, gold, just some small detailing stuff. And Allison is going to be working on...
I'm making shitty cardboard terrain because I saw somebody do it on the internet and was like, you know what? I could do that worse.
Remember, kids, all the good ideas have already been taken, so just steal them. Okay, so I've got my deuter all lined up on my handle. I've got my old gold paint, and again, like I said last time, these guys are really easy. They're mostly just plate mail dudes, with some detailing on the shield, on their little skirt things, and their weapons. So we're going to start with our shields, and I'm just going to kind of rank and file paint these shields. That gold goes right over the silver dry brushing. Real nice like.
I'm over here trying to remember what a tree looks like.
We haven't been outside much since it all happened.
Could have sworn I seen one the other day, but it turned out to be my neighbor. Standing real still.
My tree neighbor. So, as you can see, the dry brushing layer, which I did with Necron Compound, which is just dry paints for Game Citadel, is great because even when you paint over it, you still get the kind of metallic bleed through effect, so it looks real nice like, and it makes these guys just so easy to paint, which is good for me because I'm not very good at this. I'm okay at this.
You're the best.
It's horribly inaccurate. Did you finish all of your dogs?
Hell no.
No, you didn't do dogs. You were doing cats last time, right?
Yeah. I have dogs that I also did not finish, but I get to a point with painting miniatures where I just have to put them down and walk away for a little while. Pardon my noise. I need to dig for my glasses.
That's okay.
Got myself some new dollar store glasses and some new dollar store shoes. I'm dollar store styling now.
Glasses are expensive.
They are. Yeah, I really enjoy painting miniatures, and then I get to the point where I'm like, it's not what I want it to be. And we were talking about Bob Ross on our last Paintcast.
Hell yeah, we were.
I think that made it in the final cut. I hope it did. I'm pretty sure it did.
I think it did.
We can talk about Bob Ross every podcast.
I'll talk about Bob Ross whenever.
You will. I mean, you're unstoppable. We've tried to stop you, but just Hulk strength continue to
Hulk
praise
strength
him.
on the Bob.
He knew what was up. If you don't know what to do with your life, go outside, look at a damn tree, and
get a squirrel.
Yep.
Oh my god, I saw a picture the other day somebody shared. It was just the most wholesome thing in the world. It was just Bob Ross, and he had like one of his little squirrels and then another one just like cradled on his shoulder.
No.
It was just wholesome overload.
I follow a lady on the YouTube who collects possums as like she rehabilitates them, takes care of them. You've probably seen her. But it's wholesome because she likes those possums, and it's great because she really doesn't like people.
Yeah.
So.
Sounds like my kind of lady.
Oh, you'd love her. She's saucy.
Possums are like cute in like that redneck trash kind of way. Like white trash chic. You know They're adorable though.
They're cute when they're babies.
I always get sad when I like see them on the side of the road because that's where you see them most often.
Oh yeah. Well, you're supposed to check their pouches when you find them like that because sometimes they still have babies in them. Possums are the kangaroos of the Midwest, I suppose. They're the only marsupials we have, but they do keep their babies in pouches. And
kangaroos are the deer of Australia.
Oh my god.
Just everywhere.
Deer shouldn't have abs like kangaroo. Well, not abs, but you've seen the kangaroo muscles, right?
Oh, I've seen those videos where like kangaroos try and fight people.
I don't dislike kangaroos, but
all I'm saying is if there was ever an animal that was just like the epitome of get these hands and feet, it's kangaroos. Because they're just always ready to go. They're like that like rowdy like British soccer club at a bar kind of thing for animals. Just always ready to throw down.
I don't know what the possum equivalent of that is, but it's definitely the opposite. It's the just let me eat your garbage or I'm gonna scream and die.
I love animals. All of them. Like,
I can't think of an animal that I wouldn't immediately just do anything for.
Stink bugs.
See, I think they're kind of cute.
They are. We talked about this.
We did. I have this thing where like I can really, really dislike a thing, and then I think about it crying because it gets hurt, and my heart opens back up. I don't have that with human children. I'm kind of like, well, toughen up. But yeah, the thought of a stink bug crying because it stubs its toe really reminds me that I'm capable of loving.
I saved the life of a bee this week.
Oh, you absolute freaking hero. What'd you do?
It was in our house.
Oh.
I don't know where it came from, but we were like standing in the dining room, sorry. Amber was like, "What's that on the floor?" And I was like, and I like looked down and there was just this like big old bee under the table. I don't know how it got there. I don't know if like one of the dogs like did something and drug it in, or
it was probably pretty stressed out about the situation too. Like,
yeah, for real.
It didn't know how it got there.
But it looked dead, and that made me sad because I like bees.
Aww.
And so I went and I got a paper towel, and I was like, well, let's see if it's got anything left. And I took my paper towel and I just kind of like prodded it a little bit, and it like buzzed a tiny bit.
Oh,
and I was like,
hey.
It's alive. So like I, as carefully as I could, just like wrapped it up in this paper towel, and then it started vibrating.
Oh my.
The vibrations they produce are intense. So I had it and I was just like, okay, it's getting serious now. So I was like, we went outside, and what I was expecting was like, I'll open this paper towel and it'll fly. So I like open the paper towel and like go free, and then it just like plummeted to my sidewalk.
Oh goodness.
And I was like, oh.
The bee was like, you thought.
I was like, oh, if it wasn't dead before, it just nosedived into the concrete.
Oh no.
So Amber was just like, oh, it's probably dead now. So we stood there for a minute and it didn't do anything, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go down there and look at it. So I took my paper towel and I went down there and like got up real close to it and like prodded it again, and I guess that gave it the jump start it needed, and it just flew away.
Oh, it just needed some encouragement.
Yeah. So I was pumped about that. That was like the highlight of that day.
Reminds me of the time we did that elementary school thing where we got to watch tadpoles grow their little legs out, and then they were like kind of ready to release, but they weren't whole ass frogs yet. So, we go out to the lake, and I'm like gently taking them out and plopping them in the water, and gently taking them out and plopping them in the water. And my brother, who's like 4, yanks one out of the little cup and rears back and just yeets it as hard as he can. And for a 4-year-old, man, that kid could throw. Like, it flew a good 20 feet, its little, like, tail waving in the wind. We just watch it like, oh, man, it's going to have some stories to tell the other frogs if it survives that.
So you're using...
I'm using gouache paints, which are... If you like acrylic and you like watercolor, but you want your life to be more difficult, gouache is the way to go. But they're fun to work with. They're a little bit more opaque than watercolor, and they're a little bit less plasticky than acrylic. But you can't put them on too thick because they'll start to like crack and get like all desert cracky. I don't know. But they're fun. I kept seeing the palette online. I was like, oh, I like painting. I was a fool. I don't like painting. It just hurts my feelings. I get to the middle of a project and think, oh yeah, I know how to do this. And I just ruin it.
No. Everybody's like been painting at home during this whole ordeal. And I'm just like, I can't do that.
Nah.
I need like other people around to keep me motivated. That's why I like painting here at the store, because we get all around our little table, there's conversation.
It feels like art club with most of the pretentiousness removed.
Yeah. There's still some pretentiousness.
Yeah.
But like at home, I'm just like, I could be playing video games or watching a movie.
What a mood. Have you watched any movies at home?
I did in the past week. I've been kind of like on a horror slash thriller binge, I guess.
Gotta keep those spirits high.
Yeah. Are you a fan of the genre?
I am. I have nightmares from watching horror movies, so I enjoy them. So I have to limit how much I can really do. I say
horror movies, but like the ones that I enjoy are more like the cerebral kind of thriller.
Yeah.
Not as much like traditional.
I've been really listening to a lot of like murder forensic investigations and stuff like that. So I think we're both just picky. That's what we're getting at.
So like the other night I watched Cabin in the Woods. Have you seen Cabin in the Woods?
It's so good.
It's fantastic. I love that movie. It's so clever. Like the way that they start the movie off, you're like, am I watching the wrong movie?
Yeah.
And I think that's neat. And like I always appreciate when horror movies kind of embrace the silliness of them.
Yeah.
And that one just does such a good job at it. Like the part at the end where they get into the underground facility and all the monsters get loose is just like great. I don't know if like the first time I watched it, and it shows like the whiteboard that they've got with all the monsters listed and everything.
You're just like,
I paused it and was just like taking inventory of everything on there. Do you know about Kevin?
Kevin.
There's one like between like dismemberment goblins and like the merman. There's just one that just says Kevin, and they don't ever elaborate on this in the movie, but he's apparently basically Ted Bundy.
Oh my.
But yeah, he's just a normal looking dude that just kills people.
Have you been watching What We Do in the Shadows?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god. It's kind of an Office style mockumentary about vampires. But they're all just idiots. Like, they're so stupid to begin with. And the special effects are great because it's all very practical, but they pull people up on wires and it's one of those extraordinary creatures in very ordinary situations, and they're all so inept at dealing with anything.
Last night I watched The Lighthouse.
Oh man, I keep meaning to watch that and I don't.
It's so good. I love the A24 people, that company. They seem to, like, unless I'm just completely missing something, they've popped up in really just the last couple of years, and I think they're just one of the premier, like, movie making companies. It was like the guy that directed Roger Eggert is his last name.
Yeah.
Who directed Lighthouse, also directed The Witch, which I think is just a phenomenal horror movie.
That's another one that people have been recommending to me for years. I know when I see it, I'm gonna love it, and it's just.
Yeah, you would. I think you would like that movie. It's a slow burn movie, and like, it's all about like kind of like the atmosphere, which so is Lighthouse, and it's the same director, like I said. But it's like Lighthouse was amazing. I loved it. It's Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe.
And they kind of go crazy, right?
Yes.
It goes like,
not just kind of.
They go balls to the wall crazy.
They descend into full insanity.
I love it.
Robert Pattinson gets a lot of crap for Twilight. He is an incredible actor. And I watched this movie this morning at 6 o'clock a.m. And I was just like, I finished it and I was like, this is an experience, what I just did. I don't know what happened. Probably need to watch it again. But there's so much wild stuff that happens in that movie, and like the themes and overtones in it are so incredibly well done.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, it's
visually it just looks incredible.
Yeah, and they film it in like, because the movie takes place in I think 1890, and they film it in like this old aspect ratio, so it's like you start the movie and it's just like a square box on the screen. Of course, it's black and white. It was I enjoyed it a lot. He's my favorite. Eggert is my favorite of the A24 people. Like, they did the Midsummer movie, the cult movie.
Yeah.
I didn't like that one as much.
Want to see?
I didn't like that one as much. It was a bit out there. Same for Hereditary. I wasn't a huge fan of Hereditary, which is the Midsummer director. But so at home, if you have Amazon Prime and you have Prime Video, watch The Lighthouse. It's really good. It's an hour and 49 minutes of just Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe losing their minds. And it's kind of like American Psycho, where you're like, did this happen or did it not happen? Are there two people here or one person? I don't want to say too much and like ruin spoilers or anything.
It seems like the kind of movie that is unlikely to get a sequel to, which is
there definitely won't be a sequel.
Are we all tired of cinematic universes yet, or am I just being that guy? I might just be being that guy, but.
Are you talking about like?
No, nothing in particular. Just everything is like, okay, we're setting it.
We have the Marvel universe and the DC universe and the Star Wars universe.
I like a movie that begins and ends.
Yeah.
It's.
Yeah, I feel that.
And it's not that I don't like all of those universes, but I can only be invested in so many things. I have a hard time recommending things to people because once I start talking about it, I can just see the light fading in their eyes. I'm like, oh, they're never going to watch it. Yeah,
it's kind of like one of those things where like, you're like, dude, I found this awesome song. Let's listen to it together. And you put it on and you're just like, you're in it. And you like look at your friend who you so want to like this thing. And they're just like, yeah, it's whatever. And you're like, but I did all this.
But I care about this and I want you to as well.
Yeah.
I've had one friend in my life who I could listen to music with, and at this point I'm just kind of like, you know what, it's fine. I love music so much that I don't have to share it to love it. But I miss having somebody who would just sit and listen to a song with me, and I'll be like, yeah, cool, alright. Not that I don't do the same thing to people. But most of the people I know who listen to music only listen to theater music. Even Bart was like, I don't listen to music when I drive. Unless it's a Broadway soundtrack. I'm like, there's other songs, man. This is turning into a personal rant and not a thing that...
Go for it. That's what people are here for. They want to hear...
my opinions.
They want to hear real.
The real nitty gritty. One of the things I wanted us to talk about, and we don't have to talk about this if you don't want to.
Let's do it.
But crazy things that have happened at game stores over the years. But I feel like we have good stories, and if you point a gun at me and say, tell me some crazy game store stories, I'm not going to think of any. But maybe they'll come to me.
Game stories. The start of my game store experience was growing up. I always wanted to work at
I can bleep stuff.
Company names. It rhymes with shmamestop.
Oh, I worked at shmamestop.
Everybody did at some point, or everybody wanted to.
Who? Everybody wanted to until they got there.
I was there for about 4 years. I got up to being an assistant manager. And here's the thing about shmamestop. At a store level, working there was great. I had an awesome team that I made a lot of really good friends from. On a store level, it was awesome. Working with my friends, taking care of customers who also liked things that I liked. The issue with shmamestop was corporate, and I think it's still the issue based on everything I've read. They're just so out of touch with what people want. And
I had more personal issues, but I was never a manager. I was also barely even 16 at the time, so
right.
My memories are that you had to wear business formal attire, which was weird. I started working when it was still EB Games.
Okay.
So
there are still EB Games in Canada and stuff.
Oh man.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know.
No, you're
Go ahead. You started working at EB Games.
I started working at EB Games. I was 16. My managers would steal my subscriptions from me. Like I'd stand there talking up sweet subscription to those good middle-aged women. And then somebody would swoop in and be like, you need to go on your break right now. Clock out.
I'll take care of this.
I used to go over to the Penn station next door to get people drinks, and those were the days the drinks got spit in. So we had a big event when Halo came out. I think Halo 2. Had pre-orders, had a midnight release. We had this big party out in the parking lot where they were having people throw water balloons at employees, and whoever hit the employees the most with the water balloons got a prize. Now, we were all on board for this. It wasn't some sort of abusive, like, we hate you, we're going to have people throw stuff at you. But here's the thing. When they ran out of water balloons, people just went over to the catering table with all the fried chicken and started chucking fried chicken at us. And,
was it?
Not a fun time. Not a day I felt, and the manager just stood there and laughed.
Chicken chucking.
At the time.
So yeah, I started my game store stuff there, and there's so many stories that I probably shouldn't tell. But let's just say I've seen my fair share of disgusting things that people have brought in.
They would bring us discs that you couldn't see your reflection in. They didn't reflect light anymore. They were so scratched. Sorry, I just talked over you.
That's okay.
Is that what you were referring to, or did people bring you other things?
No, one time we had a couple dudes that lived in a trailer park nearby, which is fine,
Yeah.
Live where you gotta live, man. But they would always come in with just the nastiest stuff. They brought in their Xbox 360 one time, and they're like, we want to trade this. So we have to test everything, obviously, to make sure it works. So I hook up this Xbox, and I hit the open tray button to put a game in to test it out, and like the disc tray comes out and just cockroaches like crawl out of this system.
Oh my God.
And you're not supposed to like refuse trades there, because you could throw a defective fee on it and everything's all right.
Okay.
But there were certain things I was just like, nope, not taking it. Sorry.
No, heck no.
Just like on one of my last days there, this guy came in right before he closed, and I had already like locked the door. But he was like, I need money for bills, and I was like, okay, come in. So he comes in, he's like, I gotta trade this stuff in for bills, and I was just, yeah, okay, we'll get you taken care of. So he puts this bag on the counter, and it's like a white plastic bag, and I'm like, okay, it's a bunch of PS3 games.
Okay.
I look in and I see a bunch of sports games. So I reach my hand in this bag.
Oh no.
And I just feel this oily liquid something. And I don't want to take my hand out, but because like
at some point you gotta.
At some point I have to. So like I take my hand out and look at it, and there's just like this brown like oil on my hand.
Was it pee-pee?
No, I don't know what it was, but like I looked at it and I'm just like staring at my hand, and I was just like, I know you need money, man, but I'm not putting my hand back in there.
Yeah.
'Cause
did he offer an explanation?
No, I don't know what it is. I was like, I'm sorry. And I felt bad because he just needed, he just needed some help out, but I don't know what I put my hand in. And
you can find running water in a Denny's. Go rinse that crap off.
And my coworker that I was working with was like, "Oh, we can just take them out of the cases and make new cases." And I was like, "All right, you do it.
You do the buy, man."
And he was like, "Oh no." I'm like, "Okay." Ugh. Yeah, there's some nasty things that people bring in.
I worked at a used bookstore where people would bring stuff in. Just wild stuff. We got some fun bootlegs, man. I held on to a couple of them because I was like, well, we can't sell it. And at least I know this will never end up on my search history, so kind of a win-win.
Yeah, we would like plug consoles in to test them and inject the disc tray, and there'd just be like movies. We'll say movies in them, and we'd be like, "Do you want this back?" They'd be like, "Oh, yeah."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, who does that? Who buys movies? I don't know if you know this. It's all free. But yeah, it's I've seen some things, man.
I think the working at GameStop in and of itself, I mean, there were definitely perks. You got to check out games. You got to stand around and talk about games.
You said the name.
Oh, I'll bleep it.
You Voldemorted.
I think we're allowed to say it.
Probably.
I mean,
like, we haven't said anything like explicitly bad about them.
I'll die before I work there again. So there's that.
People love GameStop drama.
It's just...
It brings in the views, man!
My problem with them is it shouldn't be that hard to sell video games.
Right.
But they're trying so hard to compete with Walmart that you end up being that... I mean, I still walk into GameStop and have to just like explicitly ask people...
Don't ask me all these things.
Yeah.
I don't want them.
I don't want to talk to you.
Well, that's what I was saying. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
That's what I was saying when, like, they're so out of touch. Like, that company would be so much better off if they just let their employees be like, sell the game. And not the other bullshit.
Yeah.
It makes
Nobody
the people
wants
happier.
Game Informer.
because the people that are going to pre-order games are going to pre-order the games anyways.
Yeah.
They don't need you to prod them about it. Like, yeah, you may take a little loss in money if you're not shoving this down people's throats, but people are going to be more likely to come back if they know they're not going to be harassed about stuff.
I never subscribed to their magazine. I don't know if they still do that. I think
They do.
Okay.
I still get it. Yeah.
The magazine wasn't bad.
No. It's just like,
but I don't.
It's a magazine in 20,
Yeah. And the pressure that's put on employees to sell the magazine is kind of we're going to cut your hours if your Informer sales don't go back.
We're going to cut you from 3 hours to 2 hours.
Literally, though. They did that at the Disney store. I was on call for 12 hours a week, and I had to call 30 minutes before my shift, ready to drive there to find out if I was working or not. And I usually end up working 2 hours a week.
That's awful.
But I couldn't get a second job and change my availability. And that's why I don't work for the Disney store no more. After I left the Disney parks, I was so sad. I was like, well, the Disney store will be almost the same. I still like Disney. Nope.
So yeah, GameStop, what? shmamestop.
Shmamestop.
Not as bad as people make it out to be.
It's not.
Corporate level isn't good. That was my main issue with it. They're so out of touch.
I feel like you would have been a really good person to work with. You're a good person to work with here, but...
No, I always tried to be decent to my employees. Just because that's how you get employees to stay and be happy. And really, you're working a minimum wage job, but it's the least you can do is keep people happy and be a friend. And though I say you can't be friends with your coworkers, that's bullshit. You can be friends with you just have to know when to draw the line.
Oh yeah, we had that going on at the bookstore for a while. I mean, when somebody threw a party, every single person from the bookstore went over to that party, and it was just cool. But then again, there was a not drawing the line problem. And
speaking of parties with the employees and such, the first redacted store that I worked at, my manager, who I became really good friends with and was one of my groomsmen in my wedding, had a house party, and I have never been the party type or the drinking type at all. So he was like, hey, you should come to my house, we're doing this party. And I was like, okay, I'll come and hang out and be social. So I go to this house party. Everyone is just absolutely hammered.
Oh no.
And I'm just sitting on the couch watching it all. Beautiful chaos and whatnot. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, I walked upstairs into his kitchen and one of his friends was sitting, he had the refrigerator door open.
Oh my.
And was just leaned up against the inside of the refrigerator, sitting on the floor. And I was like, hey man, you alright? And he was eating a stick of butter. just munching away on this butter.
Oh my gosh.
He was like, yeah, I just needed to get something to eat. And I was like, oh, what do you say to that? What do you say when someone's just chowing down on the butter? And I was like, well, do you want real food? I can get some real food. And he was like, no, that's fine.
I'm sure he was never constipated again.
I don't know. I asked him about it a few hours later, and he was like, I don't remember that at all. Yeah, don't eat butter at parties.
Don't eat butter at parties. That's going to be the title of this episode.
That's the tagline for this episode. Don't eat butter.
Party butter.
So how was your stuff going over there?
It's good. I painted some trees. I still I think I'm going to go in with a Sharpie and do all the outlining to make them look extra cartoony. But yeah, no, I'm just, back when I first started working here, we had all the tables set up at the mall, and I'd go back and like set up little there was no real reason to. I was just like, we have all these miniatures and we have all this terrain and we have to put them together, and then I kind of like didn't know what to do after that.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I always ran out of was like trees and background, so everything always had the same night sky background. So
right.
I would love to do a series where we have miniatures on the table and it's not stop motion animated, just voiceover of the things happening. That's we've been going for an hour, by the way.
Oh. Have we?
We have.
What?
51 minutes.
Jesus. Should I film an outro?
Yeah.
Bye. We'll see you next time, friends, for more of the
quote unquote
the official Hard Knocks Games Paintcast. We are high budget here. So
fancy.
Stay safe, stay at home, and we will see you folks next time. Bye now.